No motherfuckers be walking up on them. Y'all see the veil is really thin now, so you know mud's gonna be on your ass. The spirits are starting to see. And you know, I get a lot of gaslighting and projecting on people who call me little names. They try to, you know, make it seem like it's derogatory towards me. You know, names, whatever, racial slurs and stuff like that, which is kind of sad and depressing for our people in general because we can't, you know, get past that. And it's sad for people who feel such a way. Judgmental. Even with smoking herbs too. Some people could tell you, well, I ain't supposed to do that. My niggas been smoking weed in America before everybody came to this motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Even in Hawaii, they called it Pakalolo, so it's already legal. It's crazy. People can judge and think that they know whatever. Everybody can do it now. Everybody can look, listen, observe, and respect. You know? Dealing with spirits, man, there's a lot of things going on in the world, you know, a lot of spiritual, you know, revealing of things, and people think that mortals are the ones that's responsible for it. They go fly, so I know I got some evil eyes around here, some blood pushers around. You know, you got the evil, you know, there's a lot of spiritual things taking place, and people kind of like, yeah, you're supposed to, you know, take up for what you've done, you know. Of course, because you know the spirit is not gonna. Nobody's not gonna take, you know, try to lock up the spirit and then inspire the person to do it. Oh, look at that fly. We got some evil eyes around here. If somebody's paying attention, we got an evil eye around. We got the fly around. So you know we're gonna break down the whole science of the unseen, controlling the seen. Jumping into it, knowledge brings equality. You know, so everybody can do the knowledge. You don't have to be led a certain way no more. You can actually just be quiet and just observe. All right, and be able to get this information out without having to hate. You know, you don't have to hate nothing. You don't have to. You can disagree, and you don't have to, you know, follow something that you're disagreeing with. That's causing yourself hell if you do that. I wouldn't want to follow something that I disagree with, like constantly. You know what I'm saying? It has to be something that I agree with in order for me to, you know, see the equality in the situation. If I'm following something and I disagree, you know what I'm saying, with it constantly, I'm like disagreeing with it, it's bringing my vibration down. It brings my happiness down. So why in the hell would I want to be following anything that would strive to bring my vibration down? So yeah, we're talking about what, you know, what DRUJAS are and spirits are. Let me kind of hold this because I know the phone be doing what it do. You know what I'm saying? We got to, you know, shit should be moving, so I got to make sure everything is smooth. But yeah, when we're dealing with the DRUJAS, you know, a lot of the words, you can even type in the word pedophile. Shit, y'all learn that one. It's hard to type that in. People get offended off that. They don't see there's nothing wrong with it. And it's like people don't see gaydom as having something wrong. It's kind of crazy because gaydom is dealing with your cosmic inner orbit. What's happening, big dog? What's good? What's good? You chilling? Hey, got something for you. Let me hold up for a second. That cosmic inner orbit. You know, when you're a human, man, you're supposed to develop, you know, fruits of the spirit as you grow. You know, you're not supposed to just dive deeper into the weakness and bowels of your lower self. Hence, you can't be great by doing that unless you plan on ascending and coming up from such foul depths of yourself. So when we're talking about false gods and atmosphere and all that shit, people's like, man, what the hell is going on? You know, I don't know what you're talking about. You know, you got to take information and boom, 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 you piece it together. That's pretty much how knowledge works. It's like a actual, you know, puzzle. Hey, y'all, can y'all please get up out of there? Because that's my little fruit. You can't even really touch. Come on, Thug. Come on now. And it ain't even up in there. I got it in my pocket. You going in the wrong thing. They little asses, I don't know. So yeah, man. When people talk about, you know, Americans and niggas and shit like that, not everybody's starting to understand, like, you know, like how niggas are pretty much, you know, like niggas are, you know, we're not like a hateful people, you know, we don't really like hate people. We actually chastise each other for hating, you know. We'd be like, man, you're a hater. We actually don't like that. Y'all got to get up out of there now. Come on. That's my root bands, or whatever they call Ruby pans. Some type of, there's a lot of food I got going on over here that was gifted to me. See? Grows right up the tree out of shit. I'm about to get a few of them damn trees. So, you know, dealing with, you know, our homeland, our mainland, is dealing with America. People starting to realize that even though we don't get the actual, that niggas have a natural involvement in the making of America. Pardon. And people are coming to grip with it. And they're starting to understand, you know what I'm saying? As far as like certain immigrants, they're trying to make this little war thing about the immigrants of the islands and stuff like that. That's like a little slight little thing they're trying to make war in between the division, you know? Everybody knows what's going on in America, man. You know, the different type of music, the different type of, you know, vibes, you know, the creativity, the evolution of, you know, talents and gifts that it has, as far as like, you know, just dealing with creativity and technology. Shit, everyone knows already, you know. So the position is going to show why niggas are actually in a certain position to say that why they're going to delineate or whatnot, or be away. I hope I said the word right. Or be away from people, and not away from people, but just getting to know each other and healing through their own, you know, healing through our own narcissistic personality disorders, abuse, toxic relationships that we had amongst people in the world, people thinking a certain way of niggas, and, you know, not looking at us as a valuable culture, you know, all these things that we had to undergo. So what we're doing is like basically healing. That mean that we still like people, but it's that healing that I think is what people have fear in. Like the healing, it's like you might be able to tap into the Most High or God type shit. And this is what they're a little bit upset about, because it's like they be able to tap into the most, they're able to tap into outside, have some type of support outside of the earth. And it's like, whoa, it'd be messed up if a nigga have some help outside of the earth. Like they ain't even need money all along and shit. These niggas done cultivated their talents and shit that they have, that was able to, and their spiritual gifts that was to, you know, put them and get them back online with their higher upper room, their higher upper echelon peoples, higher ranking jumpers. They got flies all over the place. I got them flies' eyes, man. We got them flies' eyes. Must all over the place. They having a good time too. And they know you got both hands being used. You're like, yeah, I'm gonna touch him on his back. You know, yeah, we can sob and cry about, you know, the people think you're wrong and stuff like that. That's dealing with us as a whole. You know, as a whole, we've been done wrong and we did each other wrong, and we experienced our cluster B personality disorder as well. And we know and understand that our cluster B personality disorder, we actually still love the good and the bad and the ugly when it comes to our people. And people hate that, you know, they get called names and stuff like that, but that's just dealing with their own stuff that they haven't dealt with. That's why they gaslight and project. This is an actual diagnosis of the cluster B personality disorder on everybody, so we can be able to pinpoint what we're dealing with. We ain't gonna just say somebody's this and that and the third. We're just healing quicker, and we're breaking up when we notice the toxic pattern that's not going to change. So when they see the beginning of that, that means that some type of kundalini spiritual energy that niggas done came together with to use all the knowledge that they know as a quality to born this supreme godhood that they have in themselves, or, you know, niggas in America, because we know and understand that our spirit was under attack through our foods, through our where we ate, you know, even through us uniting, building towns and cities and shit that people say that niggas was lazy upon. And, you know, that right there alone is like a slap in the face when it comes to, you know, niggas in general, or Ninja or American Indians or whatnot, establishing, you know, basically their own little country. Because you see the things that you have to deal with in the travel, people, you know, dealing with the law enforcement who don't have no type of jurisdiction to check a man's vehicle as such, you know. And, you know, it haven't been documented that niggas shoot people up and stuff like that, you know, and you have to know certain laws and stuff like that. But I'm just here to break this down in the unseen, because this is why we can pin it together. We can always talk about the Moors and the people come from around the world, we went this and that, but there's spirits underneath all this that's enticing to these spirits who weren't trained as in depth as niggas is in America, spiritually, mentally, and emotionally, through their genes. If you want to stop a nigga, man. But, you know, niggas already had a visualization with, you know, railroads and, you know, things that they done found. They call it Tatari structures and buildings that's been in the ground for 1,000 years. Mounds that's been already mounded up for thousands of years, you know. And, you know, they're discovering that. They burnt a lot of our cities already down. Chicago, New York, San Francisco. Burnt down 17,000 buildings that they didn't even know fucking nothing about. That niggas are just walking around in the town. Like, these niggas walking around these blocks and the buildings. How in the fuck they know to do that? They're not like the nigga in Africa. And it's like they're learning this. The nigga in Africa is just a little bit, they're not as evolved as us, but we want to catch them up. That's really what we was on. And then, you know, infiltration came into play. We had, you know, hate involved in the whole little, you know, melanin family type shit, you know what I'm saying? But people wanting to get into our land, which had the higher heavens. There's heavens in all lands. Now, in our land, when you have DRUJAS and shit that was able to get into our land through these, the so-called, what the revelation called the fake Jews, they came in through their synagogue of Satan and all that shit. But you see with all these files with these kids and this pedophilia shit going on, and these niggas' bank accounts got the name Baal on they shit, you know? And that's dealing with a false god who was dealing with one of the false Osirises and the false Ashtaroth. These are false gods in Atmospheria. That's basically a heaven in one of the heavens on the earth plane, but it's in the heaven realm, which is outside your sight, and your sound, your taste, and your touch, outside your 300 nanometers and 700 nanometers, what they call sight, sound, and taste, and touch, which ghosts is at. And DRUJAS are used as like a weapon to influence these motherfuckers and shit. They'll use the people who have, of course, less melanin, because it's easier to manipulate. They'll let little secrets like that go in the movies and shit, like Stargates and stuff like that, where they're using, like, you know, bodies, white bodies as hosts, or humans or whatnot as hosts, to be able to hold that serpent energy, the Gualu energy. But, you know, because it was more frail and more susceptible to its dominant, being able to dominate that physical vessel as a parasitic entity. So anyhow, though, with the DRUJAS, these are like jinn. These motherfuckers, when they come over, they don't have a false god on American soil. They just have the emissaries. They send the people, like the little missionaries and shit. When they send the missionaries, that's to survey the land. They got spirits already on them that you can't see. You can feel them though. Niggas already can feel them, but we've been cut off. It's a part of this. It's a part of our prophecy. It's a prophecy so everybody can see. Shout out to Mercury retrograde that's going on right now. You know what I'm saying? The Mercury kind of affects me because I'm a Virgo and shit. But I got Virgo and all them goddamn places. All right, so, and like a lot of them, like 6 of them. Most I signed that shit. I didn't make it. You know what I'm saying? Like, she allowed me to make it and then put me on that. All right, so anyways, though, you know, so when they got over to our land, they brung over a lot of familiar spirits with them. Everywhere they go, it's familiar spirits. Even on them boats that come in here. And them antennas that's fucking with the atmosphere. They trying to fuck with the atmosphere. That's where your higher heavens is at. Because that's a war in your heavens. They trying to use weapons on Earth to fuck up the heavens. Fuck up your heavens in your mind and fuck up the heavens in the physical realm. As above, so below. They want to fuck you up. That's why they spray on you, and they want to spray the sky too to fuck with the shits. And so, they know they're going to mess with the transition, but they know we're getting it out there. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever I'm saying, the transmission, or whatever I'm doing, you know what I'm saying? Whatever this is called. And so, so by the time they got on our land, it was already sought out. The niggas was basically, according to the Yaqub story of the NOI, it was like these Yaqub took these followers up to the island of Patmos, are supposed to be over there in Africa, and he taught these motherfuckers about the science of being a pastor, reverend, and doctors and stuff like that, and lawyers and all that shit, so they can be able to get up into our world. They had to teach them to get into our world. They didn't say that into the NOI, but that's pretty much the add-on. That's pretty much what was going on and shit. And so he died at a certain age, and he wasn't able to see his creation through. So basically, boom, the Moors who are faced with these Caucasians, or whatever they want to call them, they were able to. These Moors were not as advanced as us in America, and so they keep trying to slide that shit into our world, and we were already built up first. And Moor is just a name of what they call niggas anyways, you know what I'm saying? But they don't call niggas Moors, because we niggas. Niggas are the Kundalini masters and shit. Ain't nobody a nigga other than a nigga who mastered that Kundalini. That's like, what up, my nigga? We had a whole land of niggas. And they, Waspi call them a whole land of faithists, basically. Meaning that they are more, they're like in tune like the Israelites, but these niggas are like in tune. Like they know that the all spirit exists, and that's the only place where all spirits say. That's why they say the all spirit was only in America. They say with the Native American tale that it was only about the one great spirit. That's us, nigga. They talking about us. You know what I'm saying? And so when these motherfuckers sent emissaries, we already was keen to it. I'm talking about in this cycle of us learning this shit. It was a false god that came thousands of years prior to this false god that we're dealing with now, who is Luamon and Baal and Astaroth. Baal and Astaroth were already caught. These false gods, they war against each other, and they've all vowed to catch each other and cast each other in the hells in atmosphere. That's what they do. You know what I mean? And once we let them, do what they're supposed to do. So anyhow, though, once they came over to our shit, we pinpointed it out. We seen what they were doing. They sent emissaries. The first false god seen that. He ended up healing himself and shit, but he had a student that was cold named Anu Hasaj. And this nigga was like, he already roamed the earth for like 7,000 years. I'm checking my shit out. For like 7,000 years, and learning the personalities of people, sampling their thoughts and seeing what their thoughts going to produce of the mortals. Because when the mortals die, they turn into S, or spirit, you know what I mean? They're light, they turn into light beings, or either they're gonna be good or bad, basically, or if they evolved or unevolved in the spirit world, they tend to be, doing some reckless shit. And depending on their spiritual grade, this is where grades come into play at. This is why they get the spiritual, the school shit of grades and all that. That's because we do have grades, spiritual grades, you know what I mean, in this world. And we're layered off and plateaus of these grades, And so beings who are on low grades are able to be manipulated by beings who are on higher grades, but with a narcissistic personality disorder, meaning that they're not as like true gods, but they're like, I'm bigger than you, motherfucker, type shit. And so they want to act like they're true God when they get to a certain status that they can stop all the spirits from going to true heaven, true God, to get them graduated off the earth plane, and boom, they can go into Etheria and live amongst, the galaxies and study Most High's creations and shit like that. These false gods stop it when they get to that point. And it's thousands of false gods in atmosphere, but these are just like the primal ones, the prime ones that we're talking about now, like Louis Among and Astaroth and Baal. You know what I'm saying? Baal happened to be linked to this Epsilon shit. You know what I mean? That's his bank account. He's linked to that shit. These are emissaries who are allowed to come on the land. And so they were allowed to live their culture, their hellish culture on our land. You know what I mean? They were already doing shit like that to niggas and their whole thing. So they do it to themselves. So even with the new books that's coming out with Anunnaki leaving leaving their plant, leaving their world, because they always trying to link niggas to the Anunnaki. I think the first place people heard about that was like from Malachi York. But Malachi York studied that shit from other motherfuckers who already wrote it, which were like Zachariah Sitchin wrote a whole 13-book series of this shit. And I read all them motherfuckers. I was in my late teens, like 19 and shit. And then Malachi York came up with this whole Holy Tabernacle talking about the shit too, And so yeah, they allowed these people, But anyways though, these people had to leave their world because their world was fucked up through the atmosphere and all that shit. You know what I mean? Only time the atmosphere is fucked up is when you're at war with your home world. You're at war in your home world, and Malachi York had to say that. You know what I'm saying? That they was at war in his home world, and they had to come to our world to get gold and shit like that. And these motherfuckers had to make people to go and mine for them. And with the technology going on now, they could have just made AI and shit, but they just had to make people. Oh, okay, whatever. You know what I mean? But these beings, these people that are made though, these mortals were made as a weapon to come over to America, to where we were at. And they already know we weren't fucking with bro over there that was on that bullshit. We stopped fucking with them a long time ago. And they know that shit. But it was already also written that, written a long time ago that in the heavens is building on when gods become gods of the world. Like there's gods and lord gods and gods and all these is in lords. These are all in rank, and so that's how the world is laid out. You got the guardian angels and shit like that. All that shit came from us. Your ancestors, family members and stuff like that. They're looking out for you. But now our shit is really like being put to the test because we have foreigners coming over with foreign spirits. Like these boats coming in, traveling in, they all got 5 spirits on them, familiar spirits on them, from places of where they came from, where they were born at. And they came into our world or into the natural world of that land and shit. Because each island has a heaven as well. And it's ruled by, there's ruled by certain guys by succession. But when the heavens are hijacked, this is when the spirit, the false gods get to a certain status where they can send out their emissaries to hijack spirits from going to true God, who's basically over America and shit. I'm pretty sure the North Star is over America. They know the true God is right there. And because that's the land where only the Most High and His people dwell together. That's where all the technology and shit's at. That's where all the copper was from. You had to be high vibratorial, honorable. You're not even a lying motherfucker. It's nothing but truth in that land. And people probably, from being around so much lies, you probably can't even imagine a land being truthful like that. But niggas is like that to this day. You be calling a nigga a lie today, it's still a sting a little bit. Even though they trying to be a liar. You know what I'm saying? They'd still be mad you called them a liar. But it was a time, it just got to this. But it was a time niggas they want to be true, real, authentic. That's what we are. Shit, you know what I'm saying? We is what it is. And so, coming from a land that has all this shit, of course it's going around the world and the word got around. Most High already warned us in the heavens that there's going to be uprisings in the heavens because the mortal life is short. In the heavens, you're older. I'm talking about according to the sun cycles, not to the moon cycle. You'll be fucking hundreds of years old, damn near, in the moon cycles on Earth and shit. But on the sun cycle, you're gonna use that, And so it said that there's gonna be false gods that's gonna go down to the earth and they're gonna entice the mortals and they're gonna, they're gonna wreak havoc and shit. You know what I mean? But you got to be strong enough to be, to hold your shit down. And that's what's been going on with us. We've been holding our shit down. Our ancestors been putting in that spirit work for a long ass time. Like, they're the ones that did it. They the ones, they face death face on. Like, these people that they were dealing with, 8 people, man. And these people, not only 8 people, these people had sexual fantasies and obsessed. So cluster B personality disorder. These mothers are borderline that obsessed on sex and shit. They couldn't control themselves. Borderline psychopaths. You talking to your sexual obsession, and you want to eat the motherfucker. And they already been showing that this is what their culture is like. And nobody's not even outraged in the world right now that people are eating babies and shit like that. Pac even said that shit like America eats its babies, but he had to say it in such a sense that, it was niggas. Like, eats its babies like, metaphorically, but not like for real. But it's like, yeah, for real. You're dealing with a false synagogue, man. These motherfuckers act like they're the real motherfuckers. It ain't nothing but a lie. Now you got online, you got a mug that's supposed to be an Israelite talking to false ones. Like on purpose now. It's almost like a mockery and shit. After all this information is coming out with quarrying and us building temples out of the earth already, having cities built on certain ley lines. I was born on the 33rd parallel. Shit. And how everything is built on that parallel. It's a lot of things. And then the fact of the matter is what you're dealing with. That's why celibacy is important right now. You're dealing with molesting spirits who use these spirits in these sexual acts and eating too, because they have a thirst for flesh. They have a thirst for corporeal food. These are DRUJAS who probably never even led a physical life. This is what you're dealing with, and this is what the world has to come to so you can see the seriousness of what the hell I'm saying to you and why it's imperative for niggas to basically come together. But the only way you can is through the inside heaven first, which is celibacy. These are molesting cannibal spirits that you're dealing with. who look at you as a sex object and food at the same damn time. And there's nothing wrong with it to them. We were around this shit for hundreds of years without nobody else even knowing us. We had to talk to our ancestors in the spirit who had to go through some hells. Because these mothers are not in the same heaven as us. You know what I'm saying? They want us to drop in frequency and vibration so we can go to their heavens, which is a hell that they're going to. Like I say, not a lot of these beings a lot of these mortals, which are like, you can see Caucasian, lack of melanin and stuff like that, you know, what you want to call the American one, you know, they're being enticed by all these spirits that's making them say these things, that's making them hate. They don't have that in-depth soul connection to the Most High, so they have to help you disconnect shit, like eating the wrong food, sliding in bullshit ingredients and certain foods that you was used to eating. You know, taking away your jewels, getting you to lie, steal, and cheat and shit. Getting you to have sex with them. Once I know you're going to have sex with them, but once you mate and pass that seed along, your spirit going to have to be here 6 generations with them. You may not be in agreement with the mother in spirit. You know what I'm saying? If you're warring on earth, just imagine in the spirit. You know, it's a lot of things going on. This is why you can spend a long season in the S realm upon transition, or you can spend a short season at the highest vibration. And that's what Most High wants you to do by what I'm saying right here. So this is a deja vu vision. I had this a long time ago. I can pinpoint this one. This was like 21, 22. Now I can see the age I was. I was young, I couldn't tell. But yeah, and so, you know, this is where it comes. This is why you know what you're dealing with. These spirits come from other worlds. These spirits have never lived a physical life, so they don't really know and understand the science of a living and dying person, like emotionally. They don't have no emotion. That's why when you see the pictures of them watching people do these things, them spirits that are on them and around them, they have a stuck face. Because they don't feel the emotion or nothing. In fact, they're going to eat. They're about to eat probably. It's a sad situation. They can say whatever they want to say out their mouth. You know, feeling is dealing with truth. You know what I mean? But you have to know how to refine. You have to use the knowledge to refine first. And that's an ongoing process. You know? And so, yeah, you know, mint, I was going to go ahead with mint means an ongoing process, and refine is just refine. You know what I mean? So refinement is for forever. That borns knowledge. So knowing what you have to remove that's trash and filth is what you got to do all the time. Your body's detoxing all the time. You're going to have to do that all the time with your mental thoughts and your emotions and shit. What you need, what you see, what you allow to affect you, and all these things. But now in the heavens, anarchy isn't happening. Anarchy is happening. Anarchy is happening. You have false gods being taken over by their followers. You know, they're being placed in hells too. You know, and Hadas. The land is getting cleared out, slowly but surely, but they're still doing bullshit. They're still doing theatrical shit, and they're still doing real shit to affect the spirit. Celibacy, main way to help you be able to guide your ass in these troubled times right now. Ain't no other way you can do it. You can think it, but you're not going to be going back into the room or in the bathroom and jacking off, or if you're a girl playing with yourself constantly every 3-4 days. You're losing that light, and that's how that's their last little shit they're going to stick on you, is the sex. You know what I mean? Because when you can get higher up in sex, you're going to be more attractive. You're going to have more electromagnetic attraction. So you may be not that you're attracted to this type of thing, but that thing will become attracted to you, and your spirit can see its sexual attraction to you, like from their point of view type shit. Because they're not as advanced as you. When you start letting that light come up, because then you'll start seeing where it's like, you know, trannies and shit like that, girls. You'll know the different energies, because you're going to experience all that shit. And I'm not saying you're going to be attracted to trannies. I'm just saying for different levels, different shits for different people. But there's just certain things that they know to attack you on. You know, if they have to use a taboo to attack you, or if they just know that you just like a woman. I mean, if they know you can master a woman, then it's like, or master that yourself in order not to master her, but master your emotional responses. Then sexually, your flesh, they'll try to get your kundalini to go the opposite direction, where it's like, okay, you got that down pat, boom, you might just need sex and shit, and then that's in something that'll do some shit to you or whatever the fuck, or try to do something to you in the spirit first. It's all in the spirit first. A spirit can be right next to your ass. You gotta be strong as a motherfucker, G. I'm talking about, you gotta get it up. Years. It's not about raising the apron with your divine eye. It's about your spirit. And so a spirit that is very sexual, that can't even log on to nobody, they can still be around. I know when they're around me and shit, but they know I got the boop around. I'm able to connect. And I'm not saying I'm not gonna either too. But that mugs won't try to attack. They find ways, you know what I'm saying? Any kind of way. They can do petty things. But this is why God's cipher has to be divine. Your cipher has to be divine. God's cipher divine, that's your cipher, God, you know what I'm saying? It has to be divine at all times, you know what I mean? And the way to do that, you know, of course, in this time, because it ain't time to have babies, man. You're seeing people eating motherfuckers, and it's a serious sex. All that's, they already spread together. These false spirits are getting took out. I almost jumped off of it. Peace. I was wondering what was going on. I hope everything's good with you. You know, and these times is that important, because, you know, I don't want to get off of it, but it's more than the sexual desires. You know what I mean? They can do things. They can attack you in different ways, but they'll be around you. They can be around you, and they can. If you're not connected to the whoops, man, they can actually entice you. They ain't getting, but I already know they'd be trying. They would try. But when you get up to a certain point, they can't even try. It's like a certain way. They always try, but they can't get through. And then they have to send something physically, like a SWAT force. You know what I'm saying? Now, on the God day, hey, she in the game. Everything's good. Is the earth pretty good? And I sent the message to y'all. Hope I was hoping everything is well. The button pushers in the game. Oh man. All right, so yeah, what we're dealing with, because I can get to, you know, I cultivate the happiness, so it's like I have a happy vibe, you know what I mean? And so I can't really fight that, because you're supposed to do that. We'll try to want to be happy, you know what I mean? So anyhow, you know what I mean? But to get into all realness, what we're dealing with people like this. We dealing with defiles and shit like that. All these higher uppers, we can call them lizards and we can call them reptiles, but man, reptiles like iguanas, cool as hell. They eat fucking, you know, leaves and shit. They're not, you know what I'm saying? You know, so all reptiles ain't bad, you know what I mean? And so this is what we gotta actually acknowledge. It's just the fact of the reptiles, you know, fight or flight response, and that goes back to the cluster B personality disorder. Why would one have a fight or flight response? You can know that when somebody has a short fuse, and you can know not to be around this motherfucker not too long, or this motherfucker might, at the end of the day, you might trigger that motherfucker, and if you don't set that mug in his place, then, you know what I'm saying, it's going to continue to be that way, like a broken record. You know, you don't want it to be a broken record with someone that you kind of be cool with and shit. Before you know it, you be scared walking around and shit. You got to set an example, like, no, you ain't gonna be punking my ass, motherfucker. Because a narcissistic, sociopathic motherfucker will do that. All right, so I don't know how I got onto that part, but that's how it really much goes down. So that's what we're dealing with in the spirit. It's like, okay, Star Trek look regular, don't they? But they're going to worlds where they're like dealing with hideous looking ass creatures and shit, but you know, their emotions, like, you know, we already know the Vulcan's gonna be like, show no emotion, they logical and shit. But when you're dealing with like Picard and everybody, you gotta be stern. They don't want to let you know that these beings are like hundreds of years old and shit in the spirit. You know what I mean? They already live physical lives, and these motherfuckers is on the ship traveling. You know what I'm saying? That's good though. I'm glad to hear that. And so, you know, but yet going around, you know what I'm saying, they have to keep their composure. It could be fear. They already had to master that shit on their home world before they even got up their world, as far as dealing with fear. You know what I mean? When you gotta face a creature that's like hideous as a motherfucker being in front of you, and you got this lifesaver thing, whatever, and you know what I'm saying? It's a lot of things going on. you know, and you're going to the atmosphere of a world. You're not going into Ethereum. When they go to a world, they're really going into the atmosphere, not into the land. The land, anytime they go to the land, is always barren, a new world, M-class world type shit. You know what I'm saying? And they just deal with whatever life form is on there, sentient life form or whatever. But when they're like fighting on the world and shit, chances are the world's called out into the ether to one of the gods, the true God, you know, the gods in Ethereum. You got gods on earth, and we're little bitty gods on the earth as a mortal form and shit, you know what I'm saying? Just to show the stages, like how the stages of the mound to the pyramids and up to the, you know, highest angels and shit that we know of. You know what I'm saying? And Ethereans only know higher. They can't tell us more because it's just like, can't tell you about the 12th grade. You ain't gonna know nothing about the 12th grade and you in the fucking kindergarten, first grade, nigga. You know what I'm saying? You can't study what a 12th grader should be studying, you know what I mean? Or a college student, you know what I mean? So anyhow, they'll call out to one of the dang on gods. Like, yo, they get the emergency beacon, bing, bing, bing. Oh, this world needs a motherfucking assistance. Because why? There's a false god on their world. We can have it. This nigga done reached the status to, this nigga is the claim to all I survey ruler of everybody. Like, this nigga damn near about to be more powerful than true God on the earth and shit. So true God had to call out like, nigga, man, my followers, man, them niggas is fucking with false God and them niggas, man. I gotta get my shit right. He's like, I need to call y'all and shit. They're like, all right, nigga, we're on our way. Set a course for so-and-so, so-and-so. Engage. Make it so. You know what I'm saying? Them niggas go and light beam and shit, cause they ship ain't solid. They make it seem like they're solid. That ship is light, you know what I'm saying? And it just travels from one point to another because they know how to bend time and space. Like the piece of paper, they bend it together to get from one part of the paper. You just bend space. Now you're on the other side. You know what I'm saying? We know how to do shit like that. You know what I'm saying? We call stargates and shit. Like phones, that we can do that shit too. Walking through phones, like physical phones. Like anyways, though, we blessed our mortals with that technology, nigga. Like they can go to other parts of the galaxy while in the flesh, nigga. Cold. Anyways, though. So that's what they do. They go to the world and then they go down to the world, have it going down and shit. They're like, damn, these niggas is crazy. These motherfuckers is really running this shit. So they got to go down with their little technology. Like, yo, nigga, y'all not finna run this shit. I got data over here. Data goes down, fuck shit up. You know what I'm saying? Only motherfucker that can control data is Jordy. That's the nigga. That's, you know what I'm saying? That nigga the only nigga that can control Jordy's the only nigga that can control data and shit. Nobody can fuck with data. Nobody's smart enough to fuck with data and shit. And data's, if you don't know who that is, that's just like Android AI nigga that just do everything and shit. And his only friend is Jordy, which is the nigga and shit. The engineer, the smartest nigga on the ship. Toby! And basically, that's that nigga Toby and shit. He's already in the future. Let's come real quick. And all of the Star Treks is crazy too. They used all of the people from Roots, like the slave catcher is Captain Janeway, motherfucking she had her own shit in the Voyager. You had Tuvok on that nigga. That nigga was a house nigga. You know what I'm saying? And then you had, this is in Roots and shit, the Next Generation. Then you had the Captain Sisko, and that nigga got caught. And they had to hang that nigga and shit. You know what I'm saying? This is in Roots. But in the future, in Star Trek, this nigga is the captain of a whole motherfucking quadrant and shit. Like the head captain of all I survey type nigga. He's a nigga and shit. But that's in like Star Trek, Deep Space Nine. I mean, yeah. But this is how they hide our secrets and our etheric secrets and shit, G. You know? And so, hey, get up out of there. I got y'all. Thanks for chilling right here. All right. So, you know, so yeah, man. So all that fun stuff, that's what we do. It's in our genes. So they know this. They're like, we have etheric genes. We're in the land of the Etherians, nigga. Fuck everything else. Of the these niggas are like Riddick people, like the Furians, nigga. You know what I'm saying? Your Star Wars is like us too. That's a part of our shit too. But that's when the Star Wars are dealing with. It's the same type of shit. The stars, the constellations are within the worlds. So the false gods could be running those stars and shit, you know? And so when you have like, you know, you have the positive and the negative, or the disagreeable and agreeable people or species in the Jedi form, you know, corporeally going from world to world. They can go from world to world in corporeal form. You know, they coming from advanced worlds. They are a little bit more advanced in the physical, you know, versus certain worlds are spiritually advanced. So, you know, but those Star Wars would be like the Draco's constellation going against the Pleiadians constellation or some shit, and they having wars over a certain area because they got peace in their own little realms and shit. It's just certain planets that, you know, they go against certain things. And then, you know, like I say, it's always some lower vibratory shit. But as far as what our main shit though, as far as like Star Trek, put that into that, because how they graduate off of the Earth is basically the same way niggas is graduating off of Earth. You know, whatever talent you get, that's going to be like, you know how to play the guitar real good, or whatever instrument, I don't know, you can not even play it good, just being able to create off the ear, like out of the ether, that type of good. Most likely, you're going to probably most likely be able to develop that spiritual talent and that gift that you was given in the S realm on learning how to use tones to manipulate like spiritual technology and shit, that to make it do things that, you know, we never seen before, just through your tone and rhythmic connection. That's why the Kundalini energy on Earth is very important now, because we're dealing with pedophilia. You're being molested every day and shit. And I can't. And that's the goal. They want you to do, is to be molested. So you know, so you don't have good judgment. And some of us can't. A lot of us can't grow out of it. Some of us can. You know, and you become the ones that are able to like help and heal the other ones. This is why it's also important to get. I chop it up with our orphans, man. I definitely want to see what's up with them, because they are under their rule. And I don't nobody really feel it right now. But once they realize that niggas is under their rule, hey, we got to do something about this quick. And these orphans are very smart. And once they know that the Most High touched us, like as far as like put on our heart to get them, we need the right teachers, celibate teachers, man, celibate engineers. We can't just have engineers and people who are teachers who are still, you know, haven't mastered that sexual desire yet, but also in the food as well. You know, farthest to go. You know, of course, you know, Most High said later on, you know, you can eat the you know, the goat and stuff like that. But just be careful on how much you do it, because you don't want to lower your spirit. I don't even want you to do that, you know what I'm saying, really, but some people can't get past that, but you can still be smart doing that. But when, fruits, berries, and melons and stuff, detoxing, deworming, things, get all these parasites out of you. No matter where you go in the world, you'll be connected to the source, because most I showed you've been everywhere in the world, basically. Shit. I mean, all over, like the world. You know what I'm saying? Bobby Hammond and the Empress talking about the Thunder Dog. Yeah, Bobby Hammond talking about a lot of shit, but as you see that at this point now, he's talking about shit it's caught up. You know what I mean? Right now, we're in more of a building stage too, man. Like, you got to show, we're showing and improving now, and it's cool to know these things. But now it's time to eat with the people, walk with the people. You know, it's people that are really, really down. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, real architects that's like, nigga, we just need some land to build on. I don't even need the money, nigga. As long as we got, like, nigga, we're gonna build out the dirt of the land right there. You know, spiritual, celibate motherfuckers. They have spiritual fortitude, spiritual protection and shit. We all got this energy. No matter what we focus on, it's gonna be like spiritually protected, because we're like making a chain now. You know, because when we're living lackadaisical, trying to be in a family setting, you know, even with our toast in our city setting and shit, you know, you want to go to the store, buy stuff. And, you know, you probably got a slight little, you know, a shopping disease or something like that, you know, at that time. You know, you relax with your family a little bit more. I ain't talking about the ones in the South that had the people's harassing them. I'm talking about ones who living in the city, in the South, in the city, but you got the city and shit, you know what I'm saying? Before your buildings got burnt up, you know, you're having sex and shit, you know what I mean? You're in a lovey-dovey state, you know, and you're not in a like, nigga, this is war. Not too long ago, they just went through bombing cities, not too this long, you know what I'm saying? You gotta understand what war is about. They war with us, they warring with the Most High. We're not warring with nobody. We just didn't know what weapon to use. You know what I'm saying? We just gotta know the right weapon, you know? And now we're starting to see why the so-called Jesus said, for everything you do, man, you better seek the kingdom of heaven with all your heart, motherfucker. That's pretty much it, because that's all you got. If you hate it and nobody like you nowhere, it's because they got close to be, and they kind of a little jealous, and they gaslighting some shit. But there's a lot of people who do like you, because they like, you know, the fact that you can create and, you know, stuff like that, and they like your energy and shit. But it's an idolized devaluing discard mechanism. Just remember that. You're going to have some devaluing coming into the game after a while. You know, so it's important for you to cultivate that energy first, to find that happiness. And that's through your kundalini, that's through your not even abstinence, just straight up celibacy, absent, whatever, just not doing it. The thought, you will see the thought, whatever you thinking about for longer than whatever amount of time, you're most likely going to manifest it if you're in a world where ain't no goddamn, spells and shit around. You damn near manifest it. And then at this point, it just depends how much spiritual currency you're investing into yourself. Hence, your light, your kundalini, if you can afford it now. Can you afford that energy now? You know what I'm saying? Because if it ain't up, you may can't afford it. See, shit's been backwards because motherfuckers, they've been giving people shit that they can't afford spiritually. They just been giving it to them. You know what I mean? Like, you know you damn well you're supposed to do that shit. You're not even spiritually developed. You're not even spiritually ripened enough to even have that power. You know? It has to be trials and tribulations that you went through and that you go through in order to develop. This is why to come to America, you really have to be a spiritually developed person. You're not supposed to come over there and be like, a beggar and shit. You gotta have something to add on. They get mad, like we supposed to go to Africa and give them something, I guess. But they know already who the hell we is. We coming with something anyways. We ain't just coming with nothing, no matter what. Spiritually, at least, you're gonna learn something from me before I leave. And that's knowledge. And knowledge is the foundation. And that means you got the ability to be wise now. And that shows that you can understand. So that's a good thing. You can use that for forever now. And I can learn from you just by look, listening, and observing. I can just look, listen, and observe. You ain't got to teach. But in our future though, we want to be able to get them we want to be able to get the orphans, man. They're smart as hell. And there's the new ones. And they're in their systems. And the ones who can be able to tolerate, who know, ones who work in Boys and Girls Club, when you're dealing with different type of kids, the types, you know what I'm saying? You do your best on certain ones and make sure you can do your best to keep their ass out of the whoop. Especially if they ain't got nobody at home trying to keep them off. And I just learned really so much about King Von and shit, but if he had somebody that was really on him, instead of like glorifying, like, yeah, man, he got that fire, you know what I mean? That type of shit is just bringing out his shit. He would probably be something different, you know what I'm saying? He would have been something different, And that happened to a lot of our people, But they just made an example. That was just an example right there. But he would have been something different, though, instead of a serial killer for money and stuff, and showing that sociopathic disorder. Wearing the mask and how niggas act like we don't give a fuck, but he give a fuck. He gave a fuck. He had to keep somebody around him at all times. I guarantee you that. But if you're sitting by yourself, you gave a fuck. And you're dealing with another person, an original person too, an indigenous person at that. That's why you're not supposed to you're not supposed to kill brothers like that. You ain't supposed to just hit each other either. If you can walk away, walk away. You know what I mean? If you can do your best. If you do your best. If I can do it with people that are not off me and shit, and it's harder with your own, because it's like, nigga, you know better though, nigga. Don't ever bring your ass over to them. But I think we know now though. Our energy is not focused on self-sabotage no more. They see that we don't have that sickness. Self-sabotage is dealing with the cluster B personality. And they see like these niggas healed cluster B personality. You mean to tell me? That means they done healed narcissism, sociopathic, borderline. Because once they do this celibacy, it's a wrap. They not even fucking us. They don't even want to do business with us. They ain't gonna want to do nothing but anything but love on them. That's the only thing they gonna want to do. We can't allow that. And that's like the only thing we gotta do. Because everything gonna come full circle. Like the love, the food, everything we put into anything. It comes through that celibacy, that healing. Our OGs gotta do it first. And it's gonna be easier for the youngins because once they see us doing it, they're like, to them, because they know they ain't missing that. In our mind, when you first do celibacy or whatever, you'll probably think they're missing something, but they're not really missing nothing. You'll realize, like, we're not missing nothing. Every minute is happiness. It can turn into happiness because you'll know that you'll be attacked, This is what it takes as far as the faithists or the Israelites around the world. Once we catch on, this is what's going to heal us. It's called repenting, basically. Once we do, because we the only ones that can know we did something wrong. These motherfuckers don't even know they did something wrong, man. Somebody just released files, thousands of files, man. You can't even scroll without motherfuckers showing they doing some dumbass shit. And people that you may know, like, nigga, the world's done, G. What we do with that, what you supposed to do with the ones like that? And this is for anybody who been molested coming up too, because I went through a season and I was young, but it was the sight, and I know what they tried to make me do and all this, but it didn't go down. But I knew, and I'm gonna share that. Make sure, you know what I'm saying? But it's like, well, with these kids, they did that to their own, as well as eating them. And that comes from like in the Anunnaki world. They has the book that goes back to the book and shit. World Beyond the Poles and stuff. Of the navigator who crossed the ice wall. They got a map. Anyhow, I've been seeing this map a long time ago. But it shows Anunnaki world is all barren and shit. And it's like these niggas ate motherfuckers. Basically, that's why your world is barren. How can your world be barren? You know how to replenish it? Your world should be around. It shouldn't be bare, motherfucker. You know what I'm saying? Then they got the custodian world. That shit's basically all dark, looking like the Republic. If you're looking at Star Wars and shit, they look like the Republic's world, while the Anunnaki worlds look like Anakin's world. That's the Anunnaki, like Anakin, not us and shit. You know what I'm saying? And we ain't even warring with each other. These motherfuckers it's these Moors that when I say Moors, they're not even the developed people. The barbarians in their land needed to learn. If they're able to get it, it's all good, because the barbarians are the ones that came over to our land and shit. Whether you can call them black, white, Asian persuasion, that's the barbarian land, you know? And so basically, they had to use us to teach them, because most of the time we can't just lead them on it. We're not just going to send them angels. We're like earth angels and shit. So we had to just spend time. They did everything to you possibly do. Now that time's up. It's like, okay, you see how much we taught you, motherfucker. And you see some people admitting to what's going on in the world. They may not feel it until it's all upon them, but they're trying to admit now, like, damn, we kind of fucked up. You know, niggas are cool to be around. I kind of like them, you know. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, that's right, bro. You know what I'm saying? They like a lot of, you know, that they're kind of cool to be around, even if they're bad, and you know, to get away from them after a while to be too bad and shit. If not, you know what's gonna happen. But you know, it's just cool. You know what I'm saying? So it's the breakup, narcissistic breakup time, and we're healing, and we gotta like learn a little bit more of what we're doing and how we're doing it, and make sure that there's nobody infiltrating into the camps no more. You know, we already got over the dope, so that's cool. Even the dispensary weed, we're not really fucking with that too tough. There's some niggas we gotta get you off that, big dog, because that turn you gay. That's a weapon and shit. You know what I mean? Just grow your own weed if you can. Just be patient. You know, they try to get us for that. We was already doing that. That's how it was. Niggas already knew how to grow weed. I don't know why they act like these niggas don't even know how to grow the shit. They just was always honest. That's all. They're like, nigga, how these niggas got weed and how they so calm? It's a nigga in the city or a nigga in the country growing some weed. You know what I'm saying? And he's bringing it to town, along with that watermelon and shit. You know. But now we got it. You know what I'm saying? We get back to our horses. You know what I'm saying? We get back to our horses. Our women getting back to moisturizing. We moisturizing up. And, you know, working out as men and shit. We ain't trying to be in they little shit. We trying to get them babies up out of there quick. You know what I mean? They don't even give a fuck. I seen a video with a little girl, white girl, talking casually, man, about how they do babies. Like, they wearing baby skin shoes and the dang mental thing or whatever, man. How they ate them up and everything. These are kids talking about the baby had black rings around her eyes and shit. But she's explaining this shit so normal. Like, so normally. They've been exposed to this shit for hundreds and hundreds of years. And we was exposed to it, but now the world can see. Like, nigga, when we was exposed to it for at least 300, 500 years and shit, them niggas has been pedophiles. And you know, I seen a dude, I almost had to you have to kill a damn near pedophile. If you look at the look of a pedophile man on their face when they see a child. You know what I'm saying? And I knew my older brother, we're different. We're not from the same seed and shit, you know what I'm saying? My mom was in the streets. He fucked with a Caucasian or something. You know what I mean? But he's smart, but he still lacked that me. You know what I'm saying? And I always seen in him, you always try to be abusive, but I had to stand up to a bully. I learned how to stand up to a bully early and shit. That's why niggas who's been around muds like that, man, are a little bit more quicker. They're sensitive and shit, you know what I mean? Some can be a little bit fucked up, but some can be just as perfectly fucked up, like in a good way for a nigga. They got your Kevin Gates and shit. You know, if we look at it, besides the antics, the nigga is like sharp. I could tell when a nigga's been through some hell, the molestation or whatever it is. You know what I'm saying? When you're chosen, I can already tell. I didn't seen or bullied or whoever touched on or was known not to be touched on, or people tried to touch on them, whatever they did. You know what I mean? So, with the pedophilia, the look of the face, I seen how my brother looked at my son and my daughter. Like, that nigga damn near, he was already walking past me and shit. Like, the look. And I've noticed the same look on a lot of them when they see children. And I purposely don't get them looks and shit, like, you know what I'm saying? I already know, so I was raised up. But I felt, it's like, I had my daughter one time, and this wasn't my brother, it was a dude in public, black dude, and he was with another pedophile, because the way they was looking at my daughter and her younger sister, I kind of raised them too. You know what I'm saying? I took like and her niece, I took them to the pizza stop, and we all sitting there, and they turned around, and the way they're looking at my daughters, and I'm just like, hey man, what's up? The way they're doing it though, I wasn't standoffish. It was the way they turned around. It was like, and I was like, hey man, you know what I'm saying? It was really staring. I'm like, hey man, don't be looking at them like that. What's wrong with you? And he just like almost did this. You know what I'm saying? But he still was looking at them. I was like, y'all, go stand over here. I had to tell him to move and shit. You know what I mean? Because it doesn't matter. They look at a girl, like how we would look at a girl, they look at a child like that. And let alone, they done press the issue with these false gods, and let alone eating them motherfuckers. That's sad to say. They even sliding it into everybody. Nobody's even outraged at eating food. They're eating meat, eating human shit. There's already videos of people finding teeth and whole fucking side jaws and shit. If it's real or not, it's just the videos out. We stopped eating McDonald's. I stopped eating fries in the 90s. Shit. You know what I'm saying? Oh yeah, I stopped eating all that shit in the 90s, man. That's how I feel. I'm like, yo, man, I already know. My babies weren't eating that shit. Had to make sure. It's a way you had to be very swift to make sure that they didn't eat it, because, you know, you're dealing with the mamas. It's a delicate situation. Because the motherfucker will try to sabotage you and shit and feed the babies and shit, you know. But you got to be a strong, yeah, because we're dealing with cluster B personality. You know what I'm saying? You're high up off. But yeah, when you're dealing with cluster B personality, man, it's a broken record every time. You can see when the motherfuckers they're gonna break, because they have a very short fuse. Even if they got that mask on, they're like, hey man, how you doing? It's a passive aggressive thing, man. Trust you me. If they're not healed and they ain't sat down and healed somewhere, it's a passive aggressive thing, see? And it's gonna show after a while. They functioning, they can only function like to go to work or some shit like that. But to be confronted on anything that they done to take responsibility for anything that they done to you, whether it's a relationship, whether it's a whole race thing, whether it's all that, man, they won't be able to do it. It's like a broken thing, you know? And so, yeah, celibacy, man, you'll learn a lot of this. You'll stay away from a lot of bullshit. You'll start to heal. The energy starts to be divided amongst the family, the life family of the world, though. Like, they're calling us Israelites is the word. Now, the false Israelites were the false gods, ruled, you know, Luimang, that nigga ruled. He ruled them through Constantine and all that shit, and, you know, Baal and all of these things, man. And so they're not even around no more. They've not been around for a while, but their emissaries are still eating off of their shit. You know, they can't force religion on you no more, so they have to be very slick with doing it. You know, they have to be a way where they're doing to make you feel bad. They have to gaslight and project. This is a cluster B personality disorder. It says, oh my, I can't believe it even exists on this one. Me too. I say that every day. I can't believe this shit is real. Like, you know, I heard thought about Michael Jackson. Man, I can't believe this shit is on the. This happened in the land from which I came. Like, our land is so honorable, but now this shit gotta get cleansed up, man. We got baby eaters, man. They don't use our sacred temples, man. It's created on all the mounds, eating, doing shit on the mounds, man. On purpose, though. Like, this is done on purpose. Like, a real shit. You know, there's a hotter already waiting on their ass. Don't follow these motherfuckers, man. Come out of it quick. You don't even have to deal with business with them mothers. Any entrepreneur, you have to change your demographics up. Can't just accept everybody no more. You're not even a vampire. Why you gotta accept everybody in your business? You have a demographics, right? You know what I'm saying? So use demographics. Who you marketing to? You know what I'm saying? And if somebody extra come in, okay, cool. You know? There's a whole new kind. I'm just saying, have some fun. No doubt. Peace. Take care now. I appreciate you. So, yeah, man. So I'm about to get wrap it up my daggone, but it's a time. Work out. The women's it's gonna force the women to work out. You know what I mean? Our women's gonna work out. They're gonna be stronger. It's not gonna be. I know now. You're gonna look at you're not gonna look at black women as only sex. That's not even gonna be no more. It's gonna be back to like sweet shit. Her spirit, her body is banging. The sex is right. You know what I'm saying? Her mental is right. She has things in categories now. It's not just the only way I can fuck with it is we fucking. You know what I'm saying? It ain't gonna be that no more. You know what I'm saying? You're gonna want to be with your bird, your one. That's how you attract your ones anyway. It's gonna get back lined up. They did whatever it took to separate us, and it did happen over a period of time. Dealing with the 80s and shit, they did a lot. But our shit is like magnetizing towards each other again, because you know why? We're Ethereans. Nobody else say they try to act like they're Ethereans. They're not Ethereans, man. We Ethereans. We don't want to come up with the music. We're the Earth Angels. We're the ones that teach in the flesh. The Most High used that as an example, in the flesh. Not just a spooky, unseen thing. That's what we get, the spooky, unseen thing. Because we got ancestors and angels and shit that we can see. And some of the other peoples of Earth, they can see as well. And, not as good as BD. It's a tune. You can come up with a tune out of nowhere. They had to make a machine to do that now. Now there's a machine that just caught it and mimicked it. Now they can go. And now you got that. But with singing, they really can't do it. They try to do auto-tone, but they can't do it as good when you have, a Whitney Houston, all that. You know what I'm talking about? When it's that's organic. That's all organic. Just like we have organic heavens. Just trying to save you, so you make sure you don't make the wrong decision and go to an inorganic heaven and believe in a false God. You know what I mean? And these motherfuckers is already caught. So don't do that. Most I gonna give you free choice and shit. So just don't hurt yourself. You know what I mean? We're gonna start link up with the family. And we do that through our own space, no matter if we're thousands of miles away. That's how we're gonna link up. You know what I'm saying? So with that being said, I love you. Celibacy is the way. We're already 2nd month into the game, which is like since 12 months since the last one, on purpose to release an orgasm. So it was but that was a spiritual orgasm. You know what I mean? And that wasn't like me sitting down going, no, that was spiritually. Most High made sure to get that last little piece of light out. We've been celibate for 6.5, going on 7 years type shit. And we already been through the 10 months or 3 months. Every month we got longer and longer. And only once or twice out of them, I succumbed to getting to the month that I got to and didn't get past. I think I didn't do that 2 or 3 times. And I was a very stubborn one, so I make sure I start all over again. Like, nigga, I'm gonna count it up to 3 again instead of just being like, I get that 1 month back. But it's real serious though. And I made it, even though I made that 1 month back, I counted it up to the 3rd or 4th month. Like, wait, we're back at the 4th month. Yeah. And so, and it gets even more interesting as the months go. People reacting to you and shit. That's how they react to niggas, and the energy is even more powerful and shit. They're gonna want to act a fool to people who ain't in them energies and shit. It'll go out through the tribe. People gonna want to act a fool, G. You know what I'm saying? Even with certain ones. But that's when you're gonna start manipulating energies and elements and things like that. You know what I'm saying? That's why the thoughts is gonna have to be a little bit more tame, because you're gonna attract things. You're gonna notice that you're in a different dimension. You're gonna attract something quicker than you would normally would in the slow manifestation of the 3rd dimension type shit. You're gonna be like higher 4th dimension. Whatever you on in your chakra, that's the dimension you on. Keep it simple. You're on the second, you're 2nd dimensional thinking. You're in the first, you're 1st dimensional thinking. You're in creative thinking. You're in the 1st chakra, sacred chakra. We're not gonna make it complicated. Very simple. And 2nd chakra, you're 2 dimensional. You're starting to see things. It's like, okay, I'm seeing it fold out, like the power of life and shit. Starting to fold out through the Vesica Pisces and stuff. Get to the 3rd one, oh man, that fire's starting to burn. And you're like, oh shit, oh yeah, you really powerful at that 3 months. I don't even care who you is. 3 months, nigga, you're powerful. That's 90 days. But when you get to that 4th chakra, the heart, oh man, boom, thoughts is hitting different. You're looking at nature different now. Especially if you shroom it out, you know, that's another spiritual thing. You're gonna be like, oh man. But if you're not doing it like that, you're just in tune with nature. I mean, animals react to you differently. They're gonna always do that. Every day they're gonna react to you differently. But as you get higher and higher, they're gonna fucking land on you and shit. Whoever you think of, a butterfly will land on that person. That's how far your spirit will go. Like somebody you know, like, man, a butterfly landed on me today. You be like, yeah, I was just thinking of them. You know what I'm saying? Something comes out of your spirit, so you're gonna tap into your body how far it can travel in the spirit realm. Now you don't have control over your spirit body or the manner of how you move around in the S realm or the atmospheric realm. So that's what we're doing on Earth. We're learning how to be Etherians in the Etherian training. They have an Etherian training world, basically. These are training wheels and shit. Your thought is what moves you back and forth. It's like in a dream, you know what I mean? That's how you manner to move in dreams. When you're young and you didn't know how to move in dreams, you be slow motion and shit, falling, and you don't know how to move and shit. You know what I mean? You don't, because you came down from a higher density type shit. So now buoyancy or whatnot, you know. So you came down, so now you move a bit more fleshy. But now you're working your way back up. It's getting light again. Now you have the ability to control your little power now. That's all it's about. They don't want you to know that shit. You know what I mean? That's why they want to keep you full, your gut full, eating 5 meals a day, eating carbon-based foods and shit. No crystals, no stones, lying, scrolling, whatever. You know what I'm saying? You keep gaslighting and projecting on you, keeping your cluster B personality, basically. Make you fucked up. You know what I'm saying? That's all it is. You know, and if they succeed in doing that, they can't really succeed, but they can know they can do it for a nice amount of time. Because our heavens, we have all the colleges. You know, we have all the colleges in our land, which is spiritual colleges, where you finish learning whatever you code at. You know what I'm saying? Whatever you code at on Earth, the colleges is being restored again. Everything is being restored again. So we have the heaven set up. DRUJAS is being taken away, so you can have your own control of your own thoughts. Your ancestors are having more access to you. You know how you know? You want to be like, well, know how I know? Because a lot of niggas changing up their eating habits. The niggas was fed a fucked up diet in the South. So niggas changing their eating habits. They're changing what they watch. They revealing certain things now. They love knowledge, wisdom, and understanding. They love their talents. They love whatever they learn as a skill and shit. These niggas is actually learning shit, survival tactics. It's just, you know, this is how you know, man. This is how you know you're doing things on a spiritual level. You know what I mean? Because you're getting tired of all the low vibratorial shit. You're leaving that other shit alone. In the spirit realm, you're getting trained when you sleep, you know? And when you get up in your higher, you know, chakras, it's gonna be easier for you to learn a little bit more. The schools is getting established, you know what I mean? Like I said, the streets is getting cleaned up in the heavens, you know what I mean? Everything's getting ready to be opened up now, you know? So spirits can have a place to go now to finish their learning, you know what I mean? Because you're building high, vast, heavenly cities. What's up, big dog? You're building high. False gods made these weak, you know, spirits, angels, you know, slaves. Basically, they want to keep you enslaved as mental death and power in the spirit game too. Made them build their spiritual cities up on Earth, in Hellas and Arabia, which is Africa and Asia. You know what I'm saying? Greece, all that. You know what I'm saying? They made the mugs do that. They built up their false city, and you know that's the land with all the gods and all that shit. You know, they use all the Etherian gods and started worshiping them, like Thor and Thor and the true Osiris and Apollo and shit like that. You know, they're all like Etherian gods and shit. So they just try to take the name of an Etherian god and be like, yo, I'm this, that, and the third. That's kind of like how hip hop niggas do today. Like, you know, 50 Cent, he took the name from 50 Cent. Rick Ross took the name from Rick Ross. This is what they do. Shit. It is still shit. You know what I mean? They're not original. But our land, you know, it was always about being original. If you was dealing with hip hop, Yeah, in the style when I came up, nigga, you better have your own style. You sound anything like anybody else, nigga. Nobody want to hear your ass, nigga. You better not sound like nobody else. Your beats better not sound like nobody. Unless it's from a certain area, because you started developing your sound in that. But you better not have no sound. You better not sound like nobody. You better be hella unique. But that's all it is at the beginning. But we're so unique, we can do it all the time. You know what I mean? That's just what it is. Knowledge is infinite. So, and we're from an infinite. We get our knowledge from an infinite source. Knowledge, wisdom, and understanding from the infinite source. All right, so I love y'all. I'm jumping up off of here. It's the knowledge day. Being born to wisdom. You know what I mean? He who is wise shows that they already know. You know. So now you got to put knowledge before wisdom. And show the love of the Creator, or the Most High, true Creator, the true source, and show and prove that understanding, the love that you got to go through to come out right. That you're the superb, supreme understanding of the Most High. All right, and link up with your ancestors. They're ready. They say, "Yo, we waiting on you." Now all you gotta do is just clean your vessel out. You don't let these motherfuckers fuck themselves up. We got everything lined up for y'all. Just do this. And we gonna link us all together from all around the world. You're gonna get the little call like, "I want to go link up with my bros from the long line over here." We're gonna have a meal. We're gonna hit the whoop, all that type of stuff. We look forward to that, because most I say, look for that, rejoice, because that's the shit going on in their world, the dreadful day of the Lord. That's they shit. We supposed to be rejoicing. You know what I mean? So I know they hate it. They hate to see you happy. I know motherfuckers be mad at me and shit. Motherfuckers sound like they bowling when I walk in the gym. I'm like, damn. They be dropping the weights. I'm like, ain't nobody gonna hit the button? This motherfucker just sound like you just hit a strike and shit, man. Bowling all in the gym. If I grunted a little bit, nigga, what you do? Nigga, you grunted. Next time you get the fuck, I'm like, oh, I'm just playing. But there, they just do that. Don't worry about it. Just keep doing you. You know what I'm saying? If you outside, you outstanding, just be outstanding. I love y'all. Peace. Love. You know, I do that. I know that's the two little fingers coming together. I almost went around the eye. Hold on. I ain't finna do all that shit. Okay, boom. This is mudras. Alright? You know what I'm saying? And we kind of did it through gang signs and shit like that. I knew gang shit, you know what I'm saying? But this is this mudras. They actually work. You make your own up. You got little got little electricities up in there, man. You know what I'm saying? So keep it close. It's the same. You use these when you're playing stuff like spiritual games like Ouija, but I don't suggest you play Ouija board because they got it cursed and shit. You can make your own Ouija board up though. You got your little friend out there, your little close spiritual person. You got a little object that you can use as light, and both of y'all little hands touch it like, and you move around, but communicate with the right spirit. All right, don't be just playing with any spirit. Most I don't want you to do all that. Talk to the right ones and shit, because it'd be fucked up. All right, I love y'all, and I'll do it in the next one. Peace.